Hello, my name's Alex and I am currently here in South Korea, and I am making this video today as I want to tell you my honest experience about living in the countryside in South Korea. So I've been over here for about 6 months now and I am currently teaching at 2 elementary schools, and I live in the countryside, and in all honesty I'm absolutely loving it. Like, I'm so grateful that I got placed here. I didn't choose to get placed in the countryside, however the fact that I actually am, I'm super grateful, as there are many benefits that I didn't even realise that would come from living in the countryside compared to living in Seoul or Busan, or like right in the centre of a big city, for example. I hear a lot of things about living over here, and before people come and be like, oh, I don't want to live in the countryside, like I'm anti-countryside, I want to live in Seoul. Maybe it might change your mind about living in a big city in Korea, because honestly I would not change it for the world, like living in the countryside over here. So yeah, here we go. Here's some things that I absolutely love about living in the countryside here in Korea. And of course, if you want to see some more content, make sure you like, you comment, and you cheekily subscribe, as I have videos every single week. So let's go. So one of the first things, and probably the most obvious thing that I love about living in the countryside here in South Korea, is the beauty. Like, it's stunning. Like, I feel like you can live anywhere in the countryside in the world. However, in Korea in particular, like the mountains, the views, the weather, I'm absolutely obsessed with it. Like, I've never lived anywhere like this at all. And like, on a side note, like I used to live in Manchester city centre back in the UK 6 months ago, and I would never even think about living in a countryside. I'd be like, oh, it's so boring. Oh God, it's so like not a lot going on. And for the most part, there isn't that much going on in the countryside in Korea. I'm not gonna lie to you. However, it's not one of those places that's completely in the middle of nowhere. There's completely nothing going on. Like, there are things happening, and it's just a different pace of life over here in Korea. But going back to my point of it being beautiful, like especially March, April time when it's cherry blossom season, it's absolutely stunning. Like, it's so gorgeous. Like the fields, oh God, it's honestly, every single time like I leave to like go to school and catch the bus, I've got to walk through all these like rice fields and everything, and I feel like I'm in some sort of like Studio Ghibli movie, and I know that's set in Japan, but like the aesthetics of it, it's just very like calm and very like picturesque, and I can't actually quite fathom that I'm here. Like, and when I do go into the big cities, it just like the hustle and bustle of it. Obviously, again, it's very different from back at home in the UK, but it kind of just feels like any other big city in the world, like the hustle and bustle, the busyness, the noise. But living in the countryside is just so picturesque and so beautiful, so I'm super, super grateful for that. Another thing that I absolutely love about living in the countryside here in Korea, and as I teach at schools, so I teach at actually 2 schools here in the countryside. One of them is like a little bit larger, it's like a brand new, 5 years ago it was built school. However, my second school is like a very small, very picturesque, very like local community school, and it's like a dream placement in all honesty. I feel like all the staff like look after each other. Like, I'm the only foreign teacher over here in this little village, and I feel like I'm very much more like a part of the community, and that's what I absolutely love about being in the rural over here, because I feel like you wouldn't get that back in like the big cities and stuff. And like, whenever I walk around, like I feel like I'm much more appreciated because I see all my students and everything. They're like, Alex Sang-sang-nim, Alex Sang-sang-nim, and I'm like, oh, it's so adorable. And yeah, that's just like another thing that I absolutely love about teaching over here in the countryside, because you're just not gonna get the same experience as you do if you were in like a big city, for example. And another thing which I touched up on a little bit earlier, even though you are in the rural in Korea, like you're not gonna be that rural. And even if you are like that rural, like it's not gonna be that rural. Like, wait, let me explain. So like, for example, like I live in the middle of nowhere, but there's like a bus terminal that can take me to Seoul in like just under 4 hours. And it might seem like, oh, 4 hours, that's so long, but it's like a 5-minute walk to the bus terminal, and within 4 hours, I'm just sat there. I'm in Seoul in no time. Like, I just sit there and it just takes me to Seoul. Or like in Busan, I can get there like in an hour and a half. And again, I just sit there and it just takes me. And there will always be public transport over here. And the fact that it's like so cheap. And I also think as well, because you do live a bit more of a quiet life in the week, it kind of encourages you to like actually go out and go into the city centre. However, like if I lived in the city, I would be like kind of, I feel like I'd be more in a bubble as a sense. Like I've got everything that I need around me and I'd be like not as willing to leave. However, if you live in the rural, you're more excited to go into the city because there's more stuff to do. And like I said, like public transport will get you there in no time. It'll be so cheap and it's really nice just like living like a quiet life in the week, like relaxing, being like very therapeutic. And then when it comes to the weekend, just partying hard. Like it's the best of both worlds in all honesty. Oh, and then another thing that I absolutely love about living in the rural is I get paid more money. I get more money, girlies. So in terms of like pay, in terms of like bonuses anyway, I actually get like 3 different types of bonuses for my school. So because I teach at multiple schools, so more than one school, I actually get an extra 100,000 won a month. That's like a massive bonus, and not many people around me teach at 2 schools. And because I'm in the rural, like you're more than likely to teach at 2 schools, but the schools don't have a budget for just to pay for 1 teacher. And also another bonus that I get over here, I get an extra 160,000 a month because I teach after school lessons. So that's a great benefit of being over here. And also because I actually teach in the rural, I get another £100,000 a month. Oh, £100,000? Oh my god, I bloody wish. 100,000 won a month because I am in the rural and it seemed to be a bit more inconvenient, or it's more out the way kind of thing. But converting that back to like British currency, like pounds or dollars, it's like turns out to be an extra £250 or like $270, $280 a month just because I'm in the middle of nowhere and I'm teaching at multiple schools. Like it's amazing. And I've noticed like in the countryside as well, their children tend to be a slightly little less well off, so they can't really afford hag-ons as much. So schools will put on after school English lessons or after school classes, so they're more likely to give you these lessons of which you get paid for because it's not in your like contracted hours, and it's absolutely stunning. And like one final thing that I just think off the top of my head is living in the countryside, like I feel like Korean people in general are like very, very kind. Like wherever you are in Korea, I feel like they're very kind. However, in the countryside, I feel like because you do stick out like a sore thumb, even more so being a Daegu over here. So if you are a foreigner, you do just stick out a lot more. And I find like being in the countryside, people are even more friendly. You will have like 1 or 2 hairdressers that serve the entire village and like everybody knows everyone. You will have that bakery that you always go to, and just stuff like this, it makes you feel like more a part of like the Korean culture, the Korean experience and everything. And yeah, I really, really appreciate just being like a small town vibe and just everyone kind of knowing everyone, but at the same time, nobody really knowing you. You're a bit like a, who the hell is that? Who is this Daegu again? But yeah, all in all, I am absolutely loving living in the countryside. And like I said, like back in the UK, I would have never thought about living in the countryside in Korea. But now that I am living in the countryside, like I just couldn't think of anything better. Like genuinely, like I'm having such a good time over here. Like the pace of life is a lot slower. I've had more time to think, more time to process. And even though you are in the countryside, like you're not completely alone. Like there are other foreign teachers like close by and everything. The public transport's great if you want to get out of town. So if you do get placed in the rural, if you are coming over here to teach, for example, like please don't get worrying. Like it's absolutely going to be fine, and I'm sure you'll absolutely smash it. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. And if you have any questions about like living in the countryside over here in Korea, or if you have any questions about like teaching English in South Korea in general, or about me, or about EPIK, or like any questions at all, I will gladly help you out. Just drop me a message on Instagram or in the comments or by email and I'll gladly get back to you. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you have a wonderful day or a wonderful morning if you're watching this in the morning. And yeah, I will catch you next time on this channel and I will speak to you soon. Goodbye!